You remember when Congress rolled back part of the Patriot Act and they shut down the NSA's bulk collection of phone records? Wasn't that long ago. Well, a federal appeals court also ruled that the spy agency was never authorized to systemically collect domestic calls of Americans. Not everybody agrees, including the FISA court. The Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court just ruled the NSA can resume its snooping and its collecting, which begs a whole host of questions. Who are these guys? How much power do they have? And who's in charge here? Which court decision actually really matters? Dougie, is a greater mystery not so much who is the FISA court, but where their power starts and stops? Because how does federal appeals court give a ruling and then FISA say, never mind, we're going to still do whatever we want here? How does, give me the civics here. Who's in charge?
I wish I knew. I mean, I don't think anybody really knows. You had the Second Circuit came out and said bulk collection's bad. Then the Freedom Act came in, which was the Congress. They came in, they passed a law, and they didn't mention that they shouldn't do this. So then this FISA court says, well, they didn't mention it, so we're going to do it again. And there's no way of analyzing this unless I'm missing something. There's nothing to analyze. We're kind of told what we're told, and we're just kind of, you guys got to accept it. I
Well,
really
they
don't
released
understand
the opinion. The FISA court released the opinion. To answer your question, what it's composed of are regular Article 3 judges, a district court, and I believe federal appeals court judges that are appointed by the president, and he selects, I don't recall the exact number, maybe 12 of them, to be members of the FISA court, the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, which was a court created under the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, that law, to issue foreign spying warrants. Obviously, post 9/11.
I get the premise, Mark, but I'll make a silly example. Go up the food chain. Say the Supreme Court says they can't. Could FISA turn around and say no?
No. If they would obviously be subordinate to the Supreme Court. I don't think they're subordinate to the Second Circuit's opinion.
Well, obviously they don't think they are. But my point is the fact that I got three smart guys who can't even tell me where the line is that they can and can't.
It's a conflict. And the Supreme Court would have to resolve that conflict. It won't get to the Supreme Court because the provision sunsets in 6 months. So we're only talking about, and I don't mean to minimize it, it's another 6 months. But the ACLU is going to ask the Second Circuit to issue an injunction. I don't think they have the power to do that. They didn't really they didn't issue an injunction, period, with the original opinion. And it was really more or less an advisory opinion because they knew that Congress was going to look at the Patriot Act again in a week, and they didn't change
everything he says is right, and we're talking about 6 months. But Mayo, and we got less than a minute, but do you think this was done in terms of surveillance to be intentionally vague who's in charge? Or do you think that the law and the clarity hasn't caught up with the advancement of technology?
No, I think you're right. It's intentionally vague, and I think it's done that way so that there's no one to blame. You don't know who to even target. As Doug says, we don't really know what we've been talking
I don't think
about.
that's true. I mean, it's intelligence. It has to be secret by definition.
Well, no, I don't know, because again, as you said before, it's supposed to be for foreign intelligence, not domestic.
supposed to be
and now it's
originally, but
domestic,
its
and
mission
it just
is
is ever
expanding.
expanding,
There's no
and
question.
eventually we're creating new courts that have unclear jurisdiction, and we don't know where they are in the hierarchy of the judicial system.
Well, yeah, I mean, post 9/11, the mission of the court obviously expanded, and we're having a national discussion
I'm with you,
about that now.
except even when one court rules something, they can say never mind, and we have to take FISA's word for it. And I'm not saying they're right or wrong, but I'd love some impartial body to get it and say, are they really right? We still don't know.
Eventually, it would have to get up to the Supreme Court.
And we
again
both know
because
it doesn't look
no,
it's going to
not
happen.
because of the timing. Yeah.
Gentlemen, as always, thank you. I'll see you guys next Wednesday. When I come back, though, I got some Hudson Valley headlines. Stay with us.